Welcome. We will now talk about drawing an altitude on a triangle. The important about an altitude is through the vertex and perpendicular to the opposite side. So as I fold my patty paper, I'm going to take and I'm going to pinch it right here on the vertex, and then I need to find the opposite side. In order to make it perpendicular, I'm going to line up the opposite side. Notice the opposite vertices, the other two vertices, are not touching each other. So that may very well happen unless you have a specific type of triangle, which we'll get into more detail about later. So I've creased it right on the vertice, and I have lined up the opposite side on top of itself. So when I open it up, that line right there, I'm going to go ahead and just put a line through it. That should be my altitude as I go from the vertice, and I am perpendicular to the opposite side. So the way that I show perpendicular is I go ahead and put that mark right there to show I have a right triangle. So again, I'm going to take and I'm going to pinch a vertice, and then I'm going to turn my paper, and I am going to keep my vertice lined up while I line up opposite edges of my triangle. It's really important as you're doing this that you're keeping your vertice with one hand and you're lining up the opposite side folded over on top of itself with the other one. Go ahead and make your crease. Come back, and you can tell this was almost a right triangle with as close as that is to the side. Make your line and then mark it as perpendicular. Again, one more time for you. I'm going to take my vertex, I'm folding it upside down. I'm going to pinch on the vertex. I'm going to figure out about where that's going to come through. And then I'm going to take and line up the opposite side of my triangle. I'm going to crease it right there on the paper. Coming back. And notice as I'm doing this, it's through the vertex, and the perpendicular piece of this is on the opposite side away from the vertice. So, kind of on top of each other there in my acute triangle. Quick note for you as we're looking at this further, I've extended my lines. If you end up with an obtuse triangle, it's going to be really important that you extend your lines out, as there will be times the altitude does not fall inside of the triangle. Okay, so as I'm looking at it, the first one's easy. I'm going to go ahead and pick up my obtuse vertice first. I'm going to go ahead and line up the bottom edges. So I've got my vertex. I've got the opposite side lined up on top of itself, and I'm going to go ahead and crease it. Again, notice the other two vertices do not match up, and that is okay on an altitude. This does not have to be through the midpoint. It only needs to go through the vertex and be perpendicular to the opposite side. So this one, when I draw it, is going to look very similar to the acute triangles. Now where I get into issues is when I turn and I'm looking at this next one. You notice if I draw a line perpendicular, it's going to be out here somewhere outside of my triangle, which is why I have extended my lines out. So again, crease on the vertex. I'm lining up that dotted line I extended with the line on the triangle. Get a good fold. Unfold it and go ahead and connect the vertex down your line. Notice this is only on obtuse triangles. It should not happen on a right or acute triangle. However, due to the properties of the obtuse triangle, the altitude will fall outside. And one more time, if you look at it, it's going to be really close on this one as well. I'm going to take my vertex, going to pinch right on the vertex, going to take and twist it around. Take and twist it around so that my vertex and then my dotted line, as I'm doing this, the dotted line falls on the opposite side of my triangle. Go ahead and crease it right there. And we're going to go from the vertex down and this would be my altitude. So this has been altitude. Appreciate you watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day.